We're trying to make the technology and devices that allow humanity to live sustainably and permanently in space.
If we're ever going to colonize the stars, we need to learn to manufacture things in space. Imagine placing an order for a socket wrench from a spaceship that's 300,000 kilometers from Earth. We're talking 6 months and a few $1 million for a resupply mission. But what if there was a better way? We visited NASA Eames Research Center to speak with the company who has already cracked the code.
Hey!
Hey, nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too.
So I've heard a lot about Made in Space. I just wondered if you could show me what you guys are doing.
Yeah, let me show you around.
Made in Space is a one-of-the-kind 3D printing startup that is solving the unique challenge of 3D printing in space. This technology allows astronauts access to much-needed tools in a matter of hours, not months.
You can now send a file through email to the space station and have it print out a physical object.
Wow, that's incredible. We sat down with their CTO, Jason Dunn, to learn more. What is unique about the way in which Made in Space is at the forefront of 3D printing technology?
We realized really early on that we would have to design some special technology to make it work in space. Since everything floats in zero gravity and you're building something, each layer is fractions of a millimeter thick, you need extremely precise movement. And then the thermal control is another one. We're so familiar with it that hot air rises. And that's because of actually gravity. Gravity creates this buoyancy effect, and we have natural convection currents that are bringing hot air towards the ceiling. In zero gravity, there's no buoyancy, there's no natural convection, which means the hot parts are hot and the cold parts are cold, and they just kind of stay that way. So we've created ways to control that.
So why is it important to make things in space?
The printer on the space station is a really good example of how we can build things in space that you just can't launch, or that you wouldn't launch. So if the astronaut needs a tool and you can build it there in 2 hours rather than several months to launch it, you just build it. So an astronaut on Mars one day, with the ability to manufacture with Made in Space 3D printers, can get things immediately when they need it, rather than waiting several months for it to arrive on a rocket.
What's next for Made in Space?
In the long run, what we want is to not have to launch any material. If we look at just the space station itself, where there is a whole lot of plastic waste. So we started a few years ago developing a way to actually recycle plastic and turn it into the filament that goes into a 3D printer. And that's ongoing work that's being developed here at Made in Space. The way we look at it is we're building these robots, and these robots go into space and they have a really unique job. Their job is to make things. And we tap into the robots remotely and we control them and we make things in space.